Okay, we're gonna talk about how to get your green card through marriage if you're undocumented and you're married to a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. You can find out in this live what you need to do to actually get your green card. You need your green card if you're planning to live in the USA permanently, if you're planning to work here. So, join us in this live session. Share with your friends so we can learn what it takes to get your green card as an undocumented person, meaning you're a non-US citizen, a non-immigrant, and you want to live here permanently. So you're going to learn that here today. And if you need additional assistance after this live, my phone number is going to be in the comments. You can reach out to me so we can have a conversation. All right. I see a lot of questions already coming in on TikTok. I'm going to answer your questions while I go through some of the requirements for an undocumented person to get their green card. Hi, Arta. Thank you for being here. Hi again. Kelly, thank you for being here. You've been waiting for me. Yes, we are here live every Tuesday and Thursday. Thank you for being here. Definitely ask your questions in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to answer you today. All right. So, one very important thing to consider is that marriage to a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident is definitely a pathway, one of the most straightforward pathways to getting your green card. Okay. It is not the easiest because some people think it's the easiest, but it's more straightforward because your main requirement is to have a relationship with a qualified U.S. citizen or permanent resident so they can file a petition on your behalf and support your residency. All right, because if you have a qualified relative here in the U.S., you need to live here with that relative, right? So USCIS will require proof of your real relationship, right, with your spouse, or if it's a parent filing for you, they'll require evidence of that relationship so you can get your green card and live here permanently with that relative, all right? There are definitely other things involved in this process, especially for those people who entered without a visa. If you enter without a visa and you're married to a U.S. citizen, you can definitely get a green card, but the process will be different for you because you enter without a visa, meaning you violated your immigration status. And so you would need to file a waiver before you can actually get that green card. But you can still get a green card, bottom line. Okay? So if you're living with your U.S. citizen spouse or relative, you have other joint financial documents, and you're able to prove this to the USCIS, you'll definitely be able to get your green card and continue to live here. All right? So I'm looking in the comments. I see some questions coming up. I thank you, BCT, for being here. I see you join us several times. I think you sent me a message the other day in my DMs. Thank you very much. For those of you who are just seeing me for the first time, I'm Ify. I'm a licensed USA immigration lawyer. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, but I help clients all over the USA file their green card applications so they can start working and living here permanently. All right, can the I-485, I-130, and I-765 file separately? This is a question on TikTok. Thank you. Sheiks. Yes, you can file it separately, but I highly encourage you to file it jointly if you qualify. If you entered with a visa and you meet other requirements to actually adjust your status, it's best to file them together. But yes, you can file them separately for sure. Actually, I think now you have to put the fees in separately. I think that's the new rule with USCIS. In the past, you'll be able to file your I-130, I-485, I-765, I-131, which is your travel permit, all together and have one check. But now you have to file it together and put separate checks. That's kind of the new thing. Okay. All right. I see a question on Instagram. This is about a vow self-petition. It says we've been living together. We have all the documents ready to file. Should I avoid filing and just file for VAWA because I qualify for that too? All right, Kelly, this question about VAWA. I think we've talked about this before, but essentially if you're living in an abusive marriage, if you're married to a citizen and you're applying for a green card and the marriage becomes abusive, you have the option, right? It is an option to file a self-petition because for the most part, your U.S. citizen spouse is not going to be cooperative in this, okay? You're being abused, all right? They may not want to attend the interview. They may not want to provide some documents. They may just create an uncomfortable situation that makes it difficult for you to move forward. And with that, I don't see why you entrust your future into the hands of an abuser. They already showed you who they are. So your question of whether you should file the green card or file VAWA is really something you would have to decide and think about, because you qualify for both, but are you willing to continue living in an abusive relationship just so you can get your green card? Doesn't make sense to me. So that's what I wouldn't do that, but I'm not you, and you have to decide what you want. But you have these options, right? You're married to a U.S. citizen, you have a bona fide relationship, okay? All right, so Blondie with a brown skin. Hello, thanks for watching. This is on TikTok. She says, what if the citizen is being abused? Great question, Blondie. I get that all the time. And if you're the U.S. citizen in this scenario, you're getting abused by your spouse who's a non-citizen, and maybe you even filed for them, okay, and they're being abusive. Whatever I always say in that scenario is just leave the relationship, right? You need to leave an abusive relationship regardless, right? You're not applying for a green card, so there's really nothing you need to do in terms of your immigration, right? If you got a divorce or you're planning on withdrawing your I-130 petition, that's something you can do by calling the USCIS. That's really just a whole different process from actually leaving an abusive relationship. That's always my focus. So if you're a U.S. citizen and you're being abused, just carry your load and go. Okay, file a divorce, leave, and just let that person figure out whatever needs to happen, because an abuser, they're non-citizens who are abusers for sure. So just being an immigrant alone does not make you, does not mean you can't be an abuser, right? But you're just more susceptible to abuse, excuse me, because of your position as an immigrant, all right? So what's the process to adjust from F1 through marriage? Great question on TikTok. Thank you very much for participating. Today, I am talking about how to get your green card through marriage if you're undocumented. So this is a question for someone who's actually in a status, an F1 status, all right? So you have legal status in the US, all right? You're documented for, just to explain this way. So to be documented means you have legal status. To be undocumented means you don't have any legal status. You can't work. You're working under the table, probably being abused there, because usually if you don't have your documents, people take advantage of you in so many different ways, whether it's financial abuse in a marriage, or if an employer not paying you enough, or just making you work and just not paying you at all. There are different ways immigrants experience abuse, all right? But if you're in status, you're F1 and you're married to a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, you can start by filing the I-130 petition. All right, someone asked if you can file them all together or separately. It is best to file them together if you're currently in the USA, so you can adjust your status. That's the process of adjusting, all right? You need to adjust from an F1 to a permanent resident, right? If you're entering without a visa, if you don't have any status, not a B1B, so you just entered through the border, all right? you're not going to be able to adjust because you don't have any status, right? You're undocumented and you don't have any status. So there's nothing to adjust from. So you have to go back to your country and make sure you file a waiver before you do that. Otherwise, you will not be able to re-enter for a while. Okay, so make sure you're putting together your documentation to show your marriage is legit, and this will help you actually file your green card, okay? Because a legit marriage is all that's needed, all right? Okay, I've talked about adjustment of status, and it really touched on filing the unlawful presence waiver because these are really the key things you have to think about if you're trying to get your green card through a family relationship. If it's your spouse, your parent, or your child, you need to make sure you're admissible, you haven't committed any crimes, you entered with a visa, okay? If you're out of status, that's okay, right? We can easily either file a waiver while you're still in the USA, or sometimes that's even waived automatically for overstay, right? That's quite different from other forms of inadmissibility that you would see in some of these cases. I'm going to think of some of the cases I've worked on where we had to file unlawful presence waivers and share that with you here. But right now, I'm going to look through the chats and see some of the questions. Give me a thumbs up if this is making sense to you, if you're getting some value, and make sure you're sharing this live and also following the Marriage Green Card Lawyer on Instagram and Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere, so you can join us every Tuesday and Thursday for these lives. Ask a question. Thanks for the hearts. Thanks, Michael. Thank you. You were here since the beginning. Did you ask any questions? Hope I didn't miss it. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to keep on answering some of the questions I see here while we talk about this. Sheik says, is I-131 necessary? And the answer is no. It's really up to you because it is your travel permit. I'll always add it with my clients' forms. Actually, before April 1st, I would add it without really asking the clients because it was free, right? And I'm like, just get your travel permit because you never know if something's going to come up in the future. So we do a one-shot process. We had a package that would offer a client called a one-shot process, meaning we're filing everything all together, all right? But now, this is April 1st, 2024. After April 1st, 2024, we have to ask the clients if they're willing to actually invest in that I-131 because it's now a separate fee for that, okay? So if you feel like you're going to need to travel within the year and a half when your green card is pending, apply for that. But otherwise, you can apply for just your work permit, just stay here and work. Some people have no plans of going back home. Hey, Omar, thanks for the like and thanks for being here. Okay, Michael, you say you're going to ask later. Okay, I'm going to definitely check it out. Marity says, can I still travel home with my H-1B without worrying? Without worrying? What would you be worried about? Let me see if we asked something else before. So good to see you too, Marity. Thanks for being here. So if you have H-1B and your status, I don't think there's anything to worry about when it comes to traveling. Because H-1B, you're allowed to travel and work essentially for a number of years for the amount of time you have your contract, okay? Okay. So Kelly, I think you need to book a consultation with me because I think a lot is going on in your family scenario that you may just need to file a valid self-petition because all these other things you're saying, I'm not sure if you're trying to justify what is happening or what. You don't need to protect an abuser. Just go for what you qualify for. All right. If you have a legitimate marriage and you're being abused and you're clearly uncomfortable because you've come to my live several times with the same questions and confusions, I've given you the clear answer. Leave this abuser and file a self-petition. That's it. All these other things is just, we're just going back and forth. There's no need. File a self-petition and leave an abusive relationship. Get your sanity back. It doesn't even make sense. That's all I can say. Okay? So book a call with me if you want to really get into it. But on this live, I see so many questions. I'm going to answer those. All right? All right. Thank you. Heart Unseen, I am on TikTok. Thank you. So you can find me on TikTok at Ify Esquire, the marriage green card lawyer. I'm Ify, and I'm called the marriage green card lawyer now because I've been really practicing marriage-based green card for over 5 years. That was my first thing I've been doing, helping couples get together, doing some fiancé visas here and there. Oh, Tom Tom. How you doing? This is so funny. So my cat's name is Tommen, and I always call him Tom Tom. So this is one of my viewers. Yes, I am live on TikTok now, live on Instagram. So I guess you follow me on Instagram too. So I didn't realize that. Thank you very much. But yeah, so every time I see his name on TikTok, it's my cat's name. It's Tom Tom. I'm like, what? And this is how I see my cat's name. He'll probably come around soon because I just said his name. Tom Tom. So cute. Anyways, this person says, I'm on a J1. I didn't mention I have a child. Would it affect me bringing my child if I get a green card? Yes, because this is some form of misrepresentation. Why did you not mention that you have a child? Definitely need to do that. Oh, finally, you did your biometrics, Tom Tom. That's so cool. Well, congrats for that. I think it should just be within a few weeks, really. That's what I've been seeing happen with my clients. Once you do your biometrics, within a few weeks, 2 weeks to 4 weeks, you get your actual work permit. You probably already got your social before that. Like, USCIS is not playing these days, guys. Things have been quick. Okay? So, anything you qualify for, file for it. Don't come on my lives and be contemplating back and forth. File this stuff, all right? Let's go. Don't play with your life because you need to get your work permits. You need to move on, all right? Okay. Hi, Ify. It's been over 2 years since you got married, but you haven't had an interview yet. When are you going to get the 10-year visa? All right, so great question, Philene. Thank you very much. I haven't seen you before on Instagram. If you're just seeing me for the first time, please follow me so you can get notified when I come live every Tuesday and Thursday to answer questions. All right, this is a great question because for people who are married less than 2 years, they get their temporary green card, okay? They need to remove conditions after 2 years of being permanent residents so they can prove to the USCIS that the marriage was indeed real and they're still married and everything's great. Okay, that's the purpose of getting the temporary green card. So, but sometimes things don't work out. People divorce, either it becomes abusive or they just plain divorce because it just didn't work out. And in those scenarios, you may not be able to get your 10-year green card and you'd have to leave. Your citizenship is over. But for the most part, if you've been married for over 2 years, in this case, Feline has been married for over 2 years, but they haven't been called for the interview, you will likely get your 10-year green card because your marriage has now passed the test of time, right? Your green card ended up pending for the amount of time that was required for you to still be married, still be good. So if they call you for an interview now, they're going to expect more. They're going to need to see what you've been doing for the past 2 years. Okay? So you're not going to be the same. In my initial, when I'm putting together a package for newlywed, we can get away with like a lot of things because it's like, oh, we're in college and we only have pictures and affidavits and we don't live together. We live with our parents. Their parents write some letters. It's just, okay, whatever. But after 2 years of marriage, you need to have a lot more commingled assets, financial assets. You need to have that bank account a joint bank account that's showing expenses over time, not just like opened it yesterday before the interview. Okay, people do that surprisingly. I'm like, okay, don't. I mean, USCIS, there are people too. Don't try to be. Just make it make sense. All right, but everyone thinks they're super smart and they can get away with things, but you really can't. You need to follow the rules. And if you work with us, we make sure that you're in line with whatever is required for your process. And if you're my follower, you get all the tips just watching our lives and being here. Okay, so I appreciate you all again. Thank you very much. And I see a lot of follows. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Foreign, Agi. Thank you very much. All right. Finally, from Facebook. Hi. Chung Chung, thank you very much for asking on Facebook. Facebook or YouTube guys are always just looking at me, just staring at me. Why are you staring at me, dude? Ask me questions. But anyways, let me see. This question says, I heard from an attorney that posted a video online that says immigration is waiving interviews if married with a citizen. Okay, due to many cases waiting long. Is that legit? Okay. Great question, Chung Chung. I've heard this before as well. I've also said it on my videos that USCIS will sometimes waive interviews, especially for people like Feline, who'll be married for over 2 years. Maybe they send you a request for evidence and ask you for more evidence of your real marriage. And when she sends that, they'll most likely just send her the green card. Like, that's it, because it's been 2 years, okay? So it really just depends on the type of marriage you have and how soon they're going to call you for this interview. They might waive your interview. They might not. Right now in 2024, they've started calling for interviews again. All right. They've been waiving since 2020. I think that's when it all started, right? Because of COVID. People couldn't really be in the same space and all of that. But this year, I think I've already gone for like 1 or 2 interviews, and it's just May. So I think it's really still dependent on your type of family setting, what type of evidence you have submitted. And if they have doubts about something, they're going to call you in so they can observe. Okay. The interview is much more than just asking you these questions, of which we have some free questions that I share on my Facebook group. But I think if you check out my website, marriagegreencard.us, you'll be able to find that checklist over there with some questions and a checklist on how to get started on your green card. But aside from the questions, they're really just looking to see your body language and observing you, right? That's why they call the interview. So if they look at your case and there's something that's not adding up, there's a red flag, maybe a huge age difference, or you're just not living together. I think someone just mentioned that. So let me see. Let's see that. Someone said we're not living together. Or is that you, Feline? Yeah, but if you're not living together, definitely could be a red flag. Okay, someone says we live on separate continents. We can't open a joint account. Definitely, if you're doing a consular process, if your spouse lives abroad, you're not going to have a joint account. There's certain things you just won't have because you don't live together in the same country, right? But there are other things that you will have to show that your marriage is real. If you're abroad, you need more evidence of trips together, traveling back and forth. You need pictures. You need statements from friends and family to show that they know of your relationship, they support you, right? And maybe your marriage, if it's a spousal situation, all right? Is it okay to reply an RFE through online only? Ajibe, I don't think so. I would send the paper copy out. You can upload supporting documents and things like that, but I believe I always send the paper copy just to make sure. Okay. Veronica, thanks for being here. I think I've seen your name before too because it's so unique. Veronica Robcast. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Will I be in trouble because I responded to RFE, but my But my first letter, your name was misspelled. Oh, I see. Would you be in trouble? Hardly. Hardly. You can always correct all these things. If there's any typo or anything like that, you can just fix it and correct it. You'll have to remember that we're dealing with just a government agency with human beings working there. So you're not going to be in trouble. All right. But thanks for asking. And I know it just all seems so daunting. I remember when it was my turn, when I was going through this process. Thankfully, I was just a teenage girl, just a girl. So I didn't really realize that there are certain things I just could not do. I knew I wasn't able to travel outside the USA for years, right? So, but I was just going to school and just time was going by. But it really took a long time for things to really, be fully on track. And I became a US citizen like literally just 10 years ago. All right. So it does take a while, but you'll get there and everything will work itself out. If you misspelled something, you can just fix that with there's a form online to fix like misspellings and stuff. Okay. And if you need additional guidance, I will pin my number in the comments. I've been saying that, but I didn't do it. So let me do it right now for Instagram, and I'll do it on TikTok. But if you've been following me for a while, you could be able to find my contact information just everywhere in the captions, in the bios, and all of that. Okay. But if you just see me for the first time, again, I am Ify, right? Just a girl, a Nigerian girl in Charlotte, helping immigrants file their marriage-based green card and other family-based green card applications so they can live permanently in the USA. They can work here and they can just live their best lives. Okay, because what else, right? What else? So thank you again for being here. Let me pin this in the comments. Pin. So you can take a screenshot, just give me a call. You can get a free inquiry from one of my team members just to see how we can help you, if we're going to be a good fit, and then we can set up your case plan and go from there. Okay, you're very welcome, Veronica. Okay, all right, for sure. All right, so let's see. Michael, I'm going to answer your question because you've been here since I started this live today on Instagram. Thank you very much. Michael says, I'm in Nigeria currently. Okay, you're Nigerian, currently in Nigeria. And what are the pathways to come to the USA? Okay, so you're in Nigeria just wanting to figure out how to come to the USA permanently or for a visit or what? Like, what is your main goal, Michael? Because there are different visas, right? If we're talking green cards, that's more immigrant visas, more permanent, but you will need that relative or employer to come into the USA for that. But if you just want to visit, that's a whole different conversation. So let me know more. Michael, what do you want to do? Okay. Rockefeller, definitely call me this week. Well, I think this week will actually be the best week because we are running a special right now till the 31st. On what day is the 31st? Which is 50% off. We do this every month. At the end of the month, we try to give you all a scholarship and something to say thank you for participating with us all month, for supporting us. So we do a 50% off consultations with me. So 31st is Friday. So wait, is it Friday? That was June. Well, whenever it is, just book with me, Rockefeller, because I know you're ready to get it started. Because it is a long wait sometimes. So the sooner you start, the best. Okay. You're welcome. Green card tracking websites. What's that? Okay. Did you have cases where the U.S. spouse is incarcerated? I have not had cases like that, but I've had a question like that before. And really, there are several concerns here. Okay, let's go through that scenario where the U.S. citizen spouse is incarcerated. I started off today talking about how to get a green card through marriage to a U.S. citizen, but not every U.S. citizen will qualify as a petitioner. For example, someone who's incarcerated or who has committed certain types of crimes against minors, things like kidnapping, domestic violence, things like that. But if your U.S. citizen spouse is incarcerated for something else, just not, not related to kidnapping, just, I don't know, armed robbery or something, and, you're married and they're filing for you, there's several concerns here that would affect the process. It doesn't mean they can't file for you, but something will definitely affect, okay? Okay, one of the things I was going to mention was definitely income. Because now if you're incarcerated, you're probably not working, at least not working enough to support the application. So you will need that joint sponsor. Yes, great. So Virginia says we have a co-sponsor already. So that's really one of the first things to think about if your spouse is unable to meet the income requirement for this process. All right. So the next concern is really just whether the spouse can actually attend the interview. Because how long is this incarceration for? And how are we going to prove bona fide relationship? Like, were they incarcerated since the day you got married? After how long? Like, what do you really have to prove this bona fide relationship? I think my phone is actually dying, but I just ignored it. Ollie, could you please help me get my phone charger? Because when you have ADHD, you literally never charge things. So everything's always dying. Anyways, yeah, that's one of the concerns I'll have, Virginia, if basically your spouse is incarcerated going through this process. All right? Oh, thank you so much. I think it's my phone. No, my phone charger. So I think it's, huh? Like the regular head. Yes. This one's the iPad. Thank you. Yes. So, yeah, I hope that kind of shed some light for you, Virginia. So someone says, how long after you get married should you file the spousal visa? And really, to that question, you can file as soon as you say I do, because there's really no wait time. Just have to make sure you have a bona fide relationship. Thanks so much. Okay, make sure you have a real relationship. That's really all that matters. Okay? USCIS is denying expedited requests. Well, we all knew that expedited requests, nothing is really guaranteed, right? It is what it is. I think this is going to go off. Because when you have an expedite request, you're really asking them to skip the line for you, and they just don't have to. Except it's an employment-based type of stuff where you pay like $1,500 or something like that to get expedited. Oh, my bad. Waiting for my number on TikTok. So let me put that in here for you. Kobe, thanks for reminding me. I just put it on Instagram and just forgot. Let's see. How do you do this? Okay, comment. TikTok is a lot more complex to actually comment. So, yeah, but y'all just give me a call, right? And so people, sometimes they call to be like, let me talk to that girl on TikTok. And you really just wanted to talk to me directly. But, as much as I want to talk to you immediately, I think it's just best that you call for the free inquiry. Let's get to know what the issue is, and then can book a consultation with me. Right now it's 50% off, is $99. Usually is $199, but from now until the 31st, you can get it for that much, okay? Just so we can make it, just add some spice. You feel me? Add some spice, okay? Thank you, Virginia. I love it. I got it from Urban Outfitters, and Sometimes I forget I have it. But yes, thanks for the follow. So I pinned my number on TikTok here. And so you all can give me a call. So let's see. We had a wedding pictures, videos together, support letters. He sent me money. I sent him money too. Did you have the wedding in jail, or what kind of? Did you have the wedding before he got incarcerated? What happened? Now, let me see if I missed any questions. So, Michael, you say you want to move permanently. If you're looking for permanent residency, that means you're talking about the immigrant visa, which means you need an employer or a family member to file a petition for you. Okay? That's how you're going to be able to come into the USA. If you're coming on a B1, B2 visa, it's for temporary visit. After 180 days, which I think is the max they usually give, you have to go back. Oh, thanks for the hearts, guys, on TikTok. Mufasa. Mufasa, thanks for being here. I sent without evidence. I got a mail and they asked for my medicals when they request for evidence. What did you send without evidence? You sent your whole application without any supporting evidence? That's risky because they can actually deny you just like that. And then you now have to spend that money again. So don't do that. They'll probably ask you for more evidence. Yeah, but if you're sending the medical, you can even send more things. So you just send the papers and money, that's it, and just marriage license? Like, what did you send? That's risky. Oh, I think I even have a consultation. Let me see. Do I have consultation? I do. I have one in 3 minutes, but I'm having so much fun talking to you all. But yeah. Yeah, okay, no problem. I will join you all again in another session where I can answer these questions, but feel free to give me a call today. Okay, I thought I pinned this so that I can help you one-on-one. And if I didn't answer your questions, please send me a DM. I'll answer it next live. I try to collect the questions beforehand, especially in the Facebook group, so I can kind of prepare and just answer it as soon as I get here and you get tagged. But in these lives, I may miss some of your questions, but I appreciate your patience and understanding. And thank you. Okay? All right. Yes. All right. Well, thank you again. And let me join this consultation right now. It's been a pleasure. Again, I'm Ify, and I am licensed to practice all over the USA. So even though I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, I can help you wherever you're at. Okay? All right. On Facebook, can I call you direct, or do I have to make an appointment? You would have to make an appointment to talk to me directly, but you can just call to talk to any of my team members to talk about your question or concern, and then we can set you up with the right place you need to be. Okay? All right. Thanks again. Bye-bye.